Over the past few months, I've been playing through Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth in Japanese. The original Persona Q, Shadow of the Labyrinth, failed to impress me on pretty much every level, so my expectations weren't exactly high. But what started as just an excuse to play video games while I studied ended up leading to one of my favorite gaming experiences in recent memory. For the sake of avoiding spoilers, I'll only be using footage from the first 3 dungeons, and will only be discussing story points that you might have already seen in trailers. If you'd rather go into the game completely blind though, here's my one-line review. Not only is Q2 a great example of a successful spin-off game, it also stands up as a truly excellent Persona game in its own right. Q2 sees you taking the role of Joker, the protagonist of Persona 5. The Phantom Thieves take center stage here, with every party member, including Akechi, present. In the days leading up to the casino heist, a routine trip into Mementos goes wrong, and you find yourselves in a strange movie theater where a whole world lies beyond each screen. For those of you new to Persona Q, the series borrows its main gameplay loop, along with many of its mechanics, from another Atlas series, Etrian Odyssey, also known as SQ in Japan. As such, it's first and foremost a dungeon crawler, with a heavier emphasis on loot than the mainline games, and a combat system wherein party members are arranged in 2 rows, with the back row dealing and receiving less physical damage. Enemy teams play by the same rules, and you'll come across creative formations that take full advantage of the mechanics at play. While the mainline Persona series hinges on the idea of the main character being a wild card who can change his persona and therefore his abilities at will, the Q series introduces the concept of sub-personas, which every character can use. These sub-personas allow you to augment your main skills, adding a whole new level of flexibility to how you build your party. Each dungeon spans several floors of twisty, turny passages, peppered with shortcuts, obstacles, and environmental puzzles. As you explore, you fill out a map using a 3DS's bottom screen, and when you've mapped an entire floor, a golden treasure chest will unlock, granting a rare item you won't want to miss. The levels are really quite gorgeous too, no doubt pushing the console's hardware to its limit, with lots of little details that do a great job of bringing each area to life. On top of the normal battles, which are triggered after a given number of steps, each floor is also home to a variety of strong mini-bosses called FOEs, which you can expect to drop sub-personas and rare loot, if you can manage to take them down. On the final floor, you'll fight a boss and unlock the next piece of story, and with it the next area. It's a simple yet compelling cycle that, along with the promise of something fresh and exciting in each new dungeon, keeps you hooked until the very end. Just like in the mainline Persona games, enemies and party members alike have a variety of elemental affinities, and the outcome of a battle is generally determined by how well you hit the enemy's weaknesses while defending your own. Instead of the one more turns system found in the main series, Q introduces Boost, which is a status conferred by hitting an enemy's weakness or getting a critical hit. A boosted character has very high initiative and can play any skill at 0 cost. Additionally, hitting an enemy's weakness will knock them down and rob them of a chance to act this turn. Once all enemies are down, you can trigger an all-out attack, dealing high damage and bringing the battle to a close more often than not. Alternately, you can opt to pass on the opportunity, ensuring that all targets remain down and unable to act until the end of their turn. This is a marked improvement over Q1, where knockdown and all-out attacks were both random, and leads to a much greater level of strategic depth. As you progress through the game, you'll also unlock a variety of additional combat abilities, like Baton Pass, which allows you to transfer a boost from one character to another, and Unison attacks, which have a chance of occurring at any time during a battle with a boss or an FOE. Anyone who's played Persona Q1 will no doubt remember that every character was essentially boiled down to one single defining trait. Chie and Akihito couldn't open their mouths without talking about meat and protein respectively, Yosuke and Teddy became a couple of perverts, and Naoto was simply very, very smart. You could chalk this up to necessity, due to the fact that Q1 had 2 games worth of characters to work with, but Q2 actually does a much better job of this despite having 3. Sure, they all still have their idiosyncrasies. Yusuke is often hungry and always on the lookout for inspiration, Yukiko is a deadpan snarker and prone to giggle fits, and Yukari is still too mean to Junpei. But everyone feels like an actual person in this game, instead of a paper doll with a few lines to repeat ad nauseum. If there's one character who stands out from the pack though, it has to be the Persona 3 female protagonist, or Hamuko, as she's lovingly known by the Japanese fanbase. After years of neglect, it's finally her time to shine, and she is simply a delight. I always loved the way she was written in P3 Portable, and seeing her brought to life with expressive animations and voice acting is like a dream come true. Side quests are yet another area which has seen improvements since Q1. The quests in Q2 are treated as tickets to a special screening of a particular movie. When you pick up a new quest from the ticket booth, an entry will appear in the level select menu that will allow you to head directly to the quest start. For quests which require a certain character's participation, you won't even be allowed to enter without having them in your party. No more wasting time because you forgot that Teddy asked to come along on a certain mission. Additionally, characters starring in the special screening, whether required or not, will often be motivated, a status which increases their damage and critical rate. Unfortunately, I have to say that most of these screenings aren't actually all that special. While they're worth completing for the items, abilities, and special sub-personas you can unlock, only a handful had me actually engaged. The others are more or less just a framework for your favorite characters to play off each other. The real meat of the story, unsurprisingly, comes in the main quest. Whereas Q1 allowed you to choose between a P3 side and a P4 side to follow the protagonist of Persona 3 or 4 respectively, Q2 takes a much more focused approach, beginning with the Phantom Thieves and introducing the other teams along the way. At first I was disappointed with this. I was looking forward to following Hamako through the entire story, but it actually works surprisingly well. The investigation team and C's are woven into the story in a really cohesive way, leading to a much more consistent trajectory overall, and allowing each cast to have a turn in the spotlight. Our new characters this time around are Hikari, a quiet young girl with a penchant for movies, Nagi, the proprietress of the mysterious theater, and Do, a strange, shadow-like creature in charge of the projection booth. The star of the show here for sure is Hikari, who goes through an amazing personal journey over the course of the game. While Rei's story in Q1 was meant to make you care for her by telling you about all the terrible things she'd gone through, you grow to care about Hikari because you experience her struggles and follow her as she comes to terms with them. Her development feels genuine, and every emotional payoff is earned. If I was to describe the story of this game in one word, it would be holistic. Every aspect works together to create something that's more than the sum of its parts. Nothing comes out of nowhere. Every development is justified. Even the final boss has motivations that are disturbing in just how reasonable they seem. I never expected to say it, but the ending of this game left me more satisfied than any other Persona title to date. Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth has exceeded my expectations in every possible way. For being ostensibly a fan service game, it's better than it has any right to be. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and I can easily see myself going back to it over and over again. Thank you for watching. This is the first time I've done something like this, so I apologize for anything I might have missed. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see me stumble my way through Persona 5 The Royal when that comes out in Japanese in a few months, feel free to subscribe.